Hey everybody, my name is Jamie. Oh my god, I got a brain freeze and I can't play guitar. Today is July 9th, 2023. This is the Daily Hangout Part 2, the secret part of the stream. Make sure you're subscribed on both Instagram and YouTube so you get notified when we go live. Second time, we didn't announce this on Instagram yet, but we'll do that. We're going to get right into the videos we're going to watch today. We're watching videos. We might play guitar later. Mostly we want to watch the internet's dumbest fast food crimes from Wavy Web Surf. Let's go.
At these places, and the online world just can't seem to get enough of these tales. In this installment of Fast Food Disasters, we'll be looking at some of the most infamous fast food fiascos out there, and I couldn't think of a better place to start than the Wendy's gator throwing incident. Many of you watching may be familiar with a mean-spirited prank that's often pulled on hapless fast food workers. That prank being fire in the hole. The act involves a delinquent fast food customer ordering a large soft drink at a drive-thru window only to then hurl the drink back at the restaurant worker, drenching the poor soul in the process. Sadly, fire in the hole has become a time-tested prank, popular for multiple generations of young people at this point. And unsurprisingly, dozens have actually been criminally prosecuted for performing this stunt. But of the many disturbing examples of fire in the hole being performed, no instance tops the time a live alligator was involved. The story begins in October of 2015 with 23-year-old Florida man Joshua James. Joshua James had been described as somewhat of an outdoorsman, a Florida redneck with a penchant for animal wrestling. Friends of the man say that Joshua recreationally caught snakes, lizards, and most importantly to this story, alligators. On one October day, Josh and a small group of associates managed to wrangle a gator, a young one approximately 3.5 feet in length. Initially aggressive and thrashing, the wild reptile would eventually become docile, likely exhausted from its fight with the Florida man. With a live gator now in their possession, the boys begin to ask themselves, what next? Fried gator? A new pet? Release the poor thing? None of the above. Joshua James and his friends, likely inspired by some of the viral fire in the hole videos on social media at the time, decided they'd put their own Florida spin on the already dangerous prank. They decided instead of throwing soda at a fast food employee, they would throw their live alligator into a drive-thru window. The story goes that Joshua and one of his gator wrangling accomplices would later pull up to the Wendy's drive-thru restaurant located in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. The men ordered a drink and then drove up to the drive-thru window to meet the unfortunate soul on the receiving end of their devious stunt. During the drive-thru interaction, the worker turned their back to the group, and seeing their opportunity, Josh pulled the gator from the back seat of his truck and hurled the tormented reptile through the drive-thru window. The startled beast hissed as it landed inside Wendy's, sending workers into a panic. The cashier was so terrified by the presence of the alligator, she jumped out of the drive-thru window as Josh sped away in his truck. The gator-tossing gang likely feeling that they'd committed the greatest act of fire in the hole in history. And while this may be true, the act would come with consequences, as not only did Josh and his friends harm the gator by throwing it, they petrified everybody inside of the Wendy's restaurant. Wendy's management would notify authorities over the gator inside of their facility. It was later captured and released back into the wild by Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation officers. They traced the soft drink purchased at the time of the gator throwing back to Joshua James. After a thorough investigation, the man was arrested several months later. He was taken into custody where he would confess to being the Wendy's gator thrower. As a result of his alligator antics, Joshua was facing some pretty serious charges. The most remarkable of these charges being aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to do less than murder and unlawful possession of a gator. After being arrested and charged, the man posted bail and was released from jail. Shortly after getting out, Joshua was approached by a group of journalists and he agreed to do an ad hoc interview with them. And the man was rather candid in the interview, saying that he didn't mean any harm by his stunt, he just wanted to do something funny, and he also claims that he had a friend that worked at the Wendy's, so he thought it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he threw the gator in there.
Shit.
Well, you were wrong about that, pal.
So the person you threw it at was your friend or no?
No, it was a different person.
but I'm sure he's working there at the time and got a chance to see it. So.
Do you have anything to say to the people at Wendy's?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for what I did. I mean, you know, just being stupid, not thinking, and obviously I found out what the consequences were, and I got to pay for them, so.
And so you never meant to harm anybody yourself?
No, absolutely not. I never meant for anybody to get hurt or anything like that. You know, it was a good laugh kind of thing. Yeah.
In May of 2016, Joshua would plead guilty to his charges, which had been slightly
Seems like
softened.
he was
These charges included misdemeanor assault and unlawful possession of a gator. The man was given 12 months of probation and compelled to complete 75 hours of community service, and he had to pay a fine and court costs of $1,200. A Florida wildlife worker commented on the judge's sentencing. He may have thought this was something funny he was doing, but I've been bitten by alligators. I've seen what alligators can do, and I think that's probably something the judge took a look at. The gator tosser's disregard for public safety landed him a criminal record. Our next fast food disaster story involves another highly ignorant man. A man so dumb that he posted a video of himself committing a fast food related crime onto YouTube. When you're surfing the web, it's often common to see articles and videos showcasing secret menu items and menu hacks. One fast food hack out there is actually illegal to participate in, which brings us to the topic of the Del Taco scammer. Meet Robert Echeverria. In 2008, Robert was featured in a rough shot video published to YouTube titled How to Scam Del Taco. This infamous video showcased Robert making a call to his local Del Taco restaurant wherein he attempts to trick the restaurant workers into giving him free food under the pretense that they had screwed up a previous order he had made, which he never actually made an order. Robert and his affiliates shot this video in the parking lot of the very Del Taco that they would wind up scamming. The act took place in Rialto, California, about 50 miles east of Los Angeles, and the man was aided by two friends, 18-year-old Ian Roman and 18-year-old Brian Fawcett. Rob's deceptive phone call ruse involved him telling a story where he claims that he sent his two sons to pick up Del Taco and that the restaurant had completely screwed up the order and put sour cream on everything. He claims that after getting this screwed up order, he called Del Taco corporate over the matter and was given the green light to get a free meal.
How you doing, Rosie? My name's Robert Kennedy. I frequent your establishment about 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm calling about an incident that happened earlier. I talked to the manager. They were getting off at the time. They told me to call in when I got home from work. Basically what happened was I sent my son Isaiah and my son Cody in for not a substantial amount of food, but for a good amount of food. And when the food came back, I told them to take it back. They had no receipt from the order, and the order contained sour cream, and I don't eat sour cream. And at the same time, our sodas were wrong. And when I called, I actually called corporate. Corporate told me to call the manager and that they will fix it. So that's what I'm basically calling for.
It seems like Rob has rehearsed this story. You gotta wonder how many times he's pulled this stunt. Now, when it had become clear that the restaurant workers were buying his tall tale, he would send Ian and Brian inside to pick up their free meal. Under the guise of them being his sons, the two 18-year-olds would go in and pick up the fraudulent spread. The Del Taco evac was caught on camera by Rob's gang of scammers. Rob's minions would then return to his vehicle with a bag filled to the brim of Del Taco. The Tex-Mex kingpin could be seen braggadociously munching his spoils as the video comes to a close. The Del Taco scam was a complete success. Rob's Del Taco scam tutorial video was uploaded to YouTube on February 22nd of 2008 to the Nickel and Dime YouTube channel. Opinions from the public would quickly flood into its comment section, with many praising Rob for his elaborate scheme, while others warned him of potential Del Taco retribution. This guy is a good con man. The simple details he adds really makes it more believable. The son's name, saying he has salmonella, etc. That seems like quite a lot of effort to go through to avoid paying even a few bucks for a few tacos. Using Del Taco's kindness against them, this is what makes the world a colder and less kind place. I hope this guy pays the maximum price under the law for this. He's a true jerk. Clever social engineering tactic. I don't think this was a good idea in any way, but I'll give the dude credit. He's a good talker. I frequent your establishment 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, right. Looks more like 23 times a week. If this guy needs anything, it's not Del Taco. In the early days of YouTube, the Del Taco scam video was truly one of a kind, and it went viral, amassing tens and eventually hundreds of thousands of views. Unfortunately for Rob, though, this attention meant that the Del Taco scam video would eventually make it back to Del Taco themselves. Perhaps with YouTube being so niche at the time, Rob never expected his fast food victim to find the video. For this naivety, he would be punished severely. Apparently, a viewer who knew Rob in real life recognized him in the video and called police over the matter, reporting his fraudulent activity to authorities. With all the evidence they needed publicly viewable on YouTube, they promptly tracked the man down and arrested Rob. This obese fraudster was hit with a felony commercial burglary charge and placed on a $125,000 bond. Police had this to say about Rob after he was arrested and put in jail. He was quite proud of himself there in the video, but he cried like a big baby back here. Both Brian Fawcett and Ian Hobbs were also arrested due to their connection with the Del Taco scam. In March of 2008, Robert would plead guilty and was sentenced to serve 30 days in jail along with 3 years of probation and was completely banned from the Rialto Del Taco. After the conclusion of the case, the district attorney commented, "I tried to get him to stay away from all Del Tacos, but the judge said just the one." As for Ian and Brian, unfortunately, I'm unable to ascertain exactly what their sentences were, but I would imagine it was less than Rob the Kingpin. Recording yourself scamming Del Taco is pretty stupid, but Rob has nothing on our next guy, an individual that went to jail over cold fries from McDonald's. Before we get into our next story, a brief word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored